Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Thanks, Dave.
This is Cory.
Oh, hey, Cory. All right, let's do this. Now, I've been waiting for a customer to call me so I can go over with him his project. Yeah, nothing. So, fire up the screen if you already aren't.
Here we go. I'm ready.
Oh, awesome. So, do you want to talk about electromagnetic, electromagnetic door holders? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. Well, I see these most often in hospitals, and I always think of Rixson for these, but there are many other people that make these. And the Rixson catalog is a really good weather vane, so to speak, because it has not only all of the typical culprits, but it's going to have stuff that you may not find by other people. So in the Rixson catalog, which is the Rixson manufacturer's page,
Right.
And then the 2018 full line catalog.
Okay, I know them there.
We fire that up, 45th page.
Here we go.
Hager and Rixson and ABH and so many people make these. So when it comes to this stuff, I'm really looking to sell something that's more economical in the sense that this Rixson material is really expensive.
Okay.
There are other people like RSG that make this stuff, and it's not nearly as costly. So the important application for this material is when you have the requirement of holding a door open, and it has to be connected to the fire panel or some sort of an input, like a ionization detector, like a smoke detector. I've done these where, I sold the client a smoke detector, and it was code compliant for what they were doing. And a typical electromagnetic door holder is going to be installed, and then there'll be a relay at the fire alarm panel. So if that circuit opens, it's going to cut the power to this, and the dumb mechanical closers are going to do the job of getting the doors closed. And these are really elegant in the sense that they hold the door open. That's all they do. And when we look at the catalog, and these part numbers have changed over the years, what really changes it is where you're mounting it. It's almost always to the wall, except when it's floor mounted, like this 980M. The 980M can also be done as a pair of doors back to back. So if you have two pairs of doors, like you have 4 doors, well, you can hold those open in the center. But if you're doing these, you're really doing the wall mount stuff. So if it's wall mounted, really all that you're talking about is what's the projection off the face of the wall. That 989 is super small. You're looking at that versus something that's going to stick out much, much greater, like this 991 versus a 994M. That's 1 inch. Or one that has an extension, 2.5 inch on the 996. So when it comes to me and I think of these, I'm thinking about, are you installing it on the wall? And if yes, what projection do you need? Because that actually really matters in the sense that you have to make sure that you can get the door to the armature. And the armature is going to be mounted generally to the door. And can you bring the armature mounted to the door to the magnet?
I imagine that's where there's extensions.
Yeah, definitely. I had a conversation with a client, and he literally had a situation where it was really crucial that he could get the door to 90 degree, and he had a tight perpendicular wall, and that projection became really important. It was a masonry wall, so he couldn't use anything that requires a box. So it had to be surface mounted. So this wouldn't have worked because he wasn't going to chop a hole in his masonry. Plus the wiring had to be surface mounted. So I was able to show him that in AutoCAD he could get to 85 degree open, which was okay because it's not handicap compliant or anything of that nature. So if you're mounting it to the wall, great. What's the projection? If you're mounting it to the floor, okay. Does it still physically fit? And then when you go back.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the projection, and as we're scrolling through the catalog, you also mentioned the box. So in some cases, it could be recessed, and there would only be a small portion sticking out. But like you said, in masonry, it would have to be completely surface mounted. So that's kind of another question I have to ask: is it on the wall? Is it surface mounted or recessed? Is that accurate, kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is there an electrical box that you're installing this into? And the guy might say, "Oh, absolutely. The electrician did all of that." In that case, you'd be looking at this 997M or something like it. Those are the punch outs for the conduit that you see there.
Okay.
In that masonry wall application, they're clearly inferring that you're surface mounting wiring, and then what it really boils down to at that point is going to be something like this client's application was door was here, had to swing out. The trouble was he had a wall like right here, perpendicular wall. So when that door goes to open, what's this distance in here? So that's what really had to be looked into. So I tossed all of that into AutoCAD and found that I could get his door to 85 degree and surface mount his material here and the armature on the door here, through bolted, and then his wiring was coming. Or he was going to need to do something else. There was definitely a need to tie it into the fire alarm panel. So no matter what, he was going to have to get wires from the fire alarm panel to the unit because it was a fire door. No, forgive me. On that, it was going to be a smoke detector. And that would be, I don't know if Rickson still makes them. I know that I have one here, and I'll show you what it looks like. You know about the caret above the 6 on the keyboard?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Wait, I think I've seen this somewhere.
Yeah, I probably have mentioned it. So when you do a search by caret on the front end, all it's doing is showing you the actual items that are on our actual shelf.
Oh.
Easy way to know what do I have in stock.
I didn't.
So,
oh man, you've probably told me this, and I thought that.
I may not have. I don't share all the Easter eggs right away.
I thought this was a feature that we didn't have, and I wanted desperately, and I mentioned it a while back and didn't bug you about it again. This is exciting. Awesome.
Yeah.
This is a great
feature.
No,
you may have been the person who put that in my mind. So this detector here, you could easily wire this with the electromagnetic holder, and that's certainly what I would have recommended. I know that's what I recommended to the client. And, it's an ionization detector, and it's a switch, right? So whether it's a light switch, right here, you see? So this is literally what this is for. The question, with the electromagnetic holder, the question is, how are you activating it? Meaning, how is the door closing? Is it fire alarm? Or is it some other switch that would be number 2? Or number 3, is it not required and you're just going to pull the door closed when you're done with it being held open? And I've had people want an electromagnetic door holder for a home. Well, they didn't request an electromagnetic door holder. So first, electromagnetic. When you run current through a wound wire, the science of doing that produces a magnetic field. So if you were to read an electrical book, here it is. Okay, I want to show this to you. It is liberating. It's a 400-page book but really just the first 3 chapters. And from there, a lot of it's extremely well written. A lot of it you can move through, but there are going to be parts that you will continue to go back and refer to. This book, Basic Electricity, I think I bought it on eBay for $12. I bought another one because I couldn't find my first copy. It's here somewhere. So this is liberating when you understand how electricity works. Right. You know, when you drop your phone onto the what is it? When it charges by contact
or whatever.
Yeah.
Say MagSafe.
Yeah, the mag charger. Yeah. So you know what that is?
What?
It's technology as old as Edison. All it is current going through wires, which creates a magnetic field. That's all it is. It's so simple. So wow. I had a client one time say, yeah, I got a big problem. And that big problem is a 110-pound Labrador. And he needed to have a high amount of pounds of holding force. And I said, well, that's no problem. And that's no problem because I said, can you run electricity to it? He's like, sure, I can do anything I want. And I then showed him something like this RSG because it shows holding force dependent on voltage. So is 40 pounds of holding force adequate? If not, go with this model, the 1224, run low voltage to it, and you'll get 75 pounds. You need more. Is your Labrador really that strong? Go with the 24-120, 110 pounds of holding force. So that's another thing to consider when you're doing these, because it's gonna come down to how are you installing them in terms of where, floor or wall. Then, what voltage does your client have available? Can they do line voltage? If you don't have to transform the power down, save yourself the extra cost. If you've got 110 volts at the opening, I say just use that. And you can buy all these tri-volts, 12, 24, or 120. They will operate on line voltage, and they'll operate on low voltage, AC or DC. What's really neat about that is they must be rectifying. No, I don't know how they're doing it. Yeah, they must be rectifying it, and the rectifiers are in that book as well. Because if it was AC, you would hear the buzzing like a doorbell or like an AC electric strike. Right. So the next question is what voltage do you have available to you? Go with the easiest one, but be mindful that the science behind that does give you some different holding force amounts, and that may be an issue. They may need a higher holding force because you've got a door closer on there that's really pulling at 12 pounds. So holding force could be really important, Cory, because you may have an environment where people do tug on the door or door closer. So, it's mindful. You need to be mindful of that because a large dog that reaches up on the door will push it open in these lower voltages. So the voltage, awesome. There is the side effect of that, or the profile of, there is the consequence of holding force compared to voltage. So be mindful that exists. Nobody ever thinks about that, but it's a thing. After that, in the Rixson catalog, you had mentioned earlier about extensions, and yeah, you better believe it. And zip ties, according to the nerds in our industry, are not fire-rated ways to extend this material. Now,
I imagine there's a story there.
Oh man, if you nerd out with the DHI guys, wow, that's like a 30-minute detour that'll be taken in a class about zip ties and electromagnetic holders. So when I think of extensions, I always think of ABH because they do such a great job at literally showing them And it's really important to think about the mathematics of what's needed between the wall and the projection of the box and the armature. Now, Rixson has all of these extensions, but the way they do it is this is the same way that Rixson does it. And Mr. Shaw from ABH, when I first met him about 1991, he had just left Rixson as one of their engineers, and
Right.
ABH was therein born. So when you see part numbers at ABH that are like 0128 and Rixson's part number is 128,
Right.
yeah. So this is all really important, and all of this stuff obviously connects together. And the female part here connects to the back of your armature, so that you're basically going to take these armatures and you're going to increase the distance from 1 5/8 to whatever by adding these extensions. They also have the S220s, and this is where you specify. If you search in our site for S220, you're literally going to find that we've got them added in lots of lengths. So here they go, 11-inch, 12-inch, 13-inch. Okay, you get the picture. So I really think of ABH a lot when it comes to these because their page is so easy to understand. So when it comes to extensions, this is it. You've got to figure out exactly what needs to happen regarding that. And outside of that, as long as these things, if it's a fire door, as long as they close when they're supposed to close, meaning some means of opening the circuit or cutting the power, fire alarm panel, or that detector. The detector may not be code compliant, but that's all that there is to these. Now, we don't sell them very often, like new on new construction, but we sure do sell parts and the armatures and
Right.
stuff that they need for an existing installation.
All right. It sounds like I should probably try to find a copy of that Basics of Electricity, because for me, that is one of the most daunting things. It's like I'm just not sure.
Do you read at bedtime?
Not really. I gotta get my kid to bed. I usually go to bed when he does. I try to, though.
I get it. Well, no. I was there at one time. What I force myself to do is to turn one page. I'm on President number 25. I'm on McKinley right now, and I force myself to turn one page a night. You'll get to a part in this book where you'll say, wow, this is crushing my soul. Get to another part that you're going to go back and read 5 times. And
I believe you fully. I've been there.
Yeah. This book is written, this book, I believe, was written to be a Navy training manual or something like that. But there will be pages that are going to be very liberating, because you'll say, oh my gosh, I now understand the difference between amperage and voltage. So, and I've only gotten out to like maybe halfway through the book. Because, no, not even. It gets into AC. No, I've gotten halfway through the book for sure, but then it spends a lot of time in AC, and I don't need to know the science of AC and the science at that sort of level of motors. I'm good with. Plus, it really helped me learn about transformers and how they work and how power gets from the nuclear power plant to my outlet when I plug in my, Google Home Nest.
Right.
There you go.
Okay. I think it's something I should tackle. I like that one page. I might have to adopt that. That's a good goal. That's doable.
One. If it's 3 minutes, great. And you won't have to refer to a dictionary. When you're reading these presidential biographies, you don't. I'm going to the dictionary 5 times to turn a page, so you can really get through it. It's probably going to take you 3 minutes a night. That's right before you turn the light off.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is good. Now I understand them a little more now.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rich. Until next time.
Bye.
Do you know what's worse than getting sick from a coworker? It's not participating in Architectural Builders Supply March 10,000 YouTube subscriber giveaway.
Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.